Hello, Professor Dennis. My name is Gabriel O'Connell, and this is my final project presentation on environmental sustainability in the Deepwater Horizon oil spill. And herein, I will be presenting as though I were talking to a group of middle managers of a specific sector. So, all right. Well, let's dive into the importance of environmental sustainability in the 21st century and a great example of why it's so important, the Deepwater Horizon oil spill. So, why environmental sustainability? Why does it matter? Obviously, there's a lot of buzz about it. And the truth is, few topics have made headlines as much as sustainability in recent years. There's growing pressure from both consumers and governments for businesses and organizations around the world to implement more sustainable practices and policies in the present so that the future is safeguarded and protected. And environmental sustainability has undoubtedly become an essential part of ethical leadership in the 21st century. It truly is everywhere and is very important. But why does it matter? Obviously there are the apparent reasons: climate change, global warming, mass migration and displacement. But why does environmental sustainability matter to ethical leadership? Well, the truth is, limiting our environmental impact is directly connected to a healthy global economy. In fact, in 2019, the Climate Change Resilience Index discovered that by 2050, the global economy will be 3% smaller due to the climate change impact. So that's a big number. 3% may not sound like much, but in the grand scheme of things, it's huge. And unless action is taken, and unless there is true ethical leadership in this particular area, then that number will only grow larger. Another quote that I found very interesting was, as the world battled wildfires, a global pandemic, and social inequality in 2020, businesses were left reeling, contending with the prospect of a damaged economy brought about through unsustainable decision making. And so sustainability matters, environmental sustainability matters in the realm of ethical leadership because it's directly correlated to the health of our businesses, our organizations, and the global economy. So it's not just an issue that's applicable to very active environmentalists or quote unquote tree huggers, but it affects us all. And so how can leaders be proactive in sustainability since that's the case? Leaders must be diligent about setting clear goals that are developed with an understanding of what is required to build a sustainable future. What's most important is developing initiatives or sustainability goals that deliver improvements not only to our bottom lines, but also to social equity and ecological harm reduction. So basically, goals need to be clear, systems need to be in place. Leaders can have these ambitious dreams and a wonderful vision for the future, but unless that vision is being carried through day to day a system and clear goals that are measurable, trackable, and attainable, then that vision and that dreaming won't actually go anywhere. And I think that's the biggest missing link right now in a lot of businesses and organizations and governments around the world, is having clear goals that are attainable and trackable, measurable. So what is at stake? Why does this matter? What's at stake? Academic research and business experience points to quite the opposite of what most people believe. Most people believe that by implementing more sustainable policies and practices, then growth will inevitably decline. There will be a shrinking in revenue and profit, but research points to quite the opposite. In fact, embedded sustainability efforts clearly result in a positive impact on business performance. And this was particularly interesting between 2006 and 2010. The top 100 sustainable global companies experienced significantly higher mean sales growth, return on assets, profit before taxation, and cash flows from operations in some sectors compared to control companies. During the 2008 recession, companies committed to sustainability practices achieved above average performance in the financial markets, translating into an average of $650 million in incremental market capitalization per company. So those numbers are huge. So what we're finding is that by embracing environmental sustainability and working towards a more sustainable future that is less reliant on fossil fuels and that utilizes renewable energy sources and is mindful of carbon emissions, that there's actually growth in revenue and higher profit, which is good news. And so a great example of what happens when leaders act unethically in the realm of environmental sustainability, acting environmentally unsustainable, would be the Deepwater Horizon oil spill. And obviously when leaders act unethically, people are affected on a mass scale, and such is the case with the Deepwater Horizon or BP oil spill of 2010. A case study written by the Arthur W. Page Center writes that on April 20th, 2010, BP's Deepwater Horizon oil spill exploded, causing what has been called the worst environmental disaster in U.S. history and taking the lives of 11 rig workers for 87 straight days. Oil and methane gas spewed from an uncapped wellhead 1 mile below the surface of the ocean. And this has been called, like I said, the worst environmental disaster in U.S. history. The consequences were grim and they aren't good. And this was largely caused by unethical leadership. BP was trying to drill for oil much too deep in the wrong places, and then instead of embracing taking the blame for this, millions of dollars was spent in ads trying to shift blame and saying, we're going to fix this, which is actually against BP's own disaster response initiative that they had created just a few years prior. And so it's a classic case of leaders acting unethically and there being dire consequences. So, concluding thoughts. The Deepwater Horizon oil spill is a prime example of why ethical leadership as it pertains to environmental sustainability is so essential. And the truth is that executives can no longer afford to approach sustainability as a nice to have or a solid function separated from the real business. Those companies that proactively make sustainability core to business strategy will drive innovation and engender enthusiasm and loyalty from employees, customers, suppliers, communities, and investors. And here's a complete list of references. I hope that you will take what I have said today. You'll take this presentation into thought and consideration as you go about making decisions that affect our company. Thank you so much.